Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast. I'm back.
That's what you get for taking a damn vacation.
Yeah, vacation. Vacation my ass. And 400 degrees and 90 hours later, I'm back home.
Oh, 400 degrees.
Ooh. It was a hot bitch. Oh,
It wasn't too bad at P Hill for the heat was.
really?
Yeah.
I would have liked to have went, but
It was
I
actually
would have
pretty
been.
chill.
I would have been drunk and had to drive to Chinook, Kansas.
Yeah, I informed him that you gave me a phone call and said I got good and bad news, and I said let's take the bad news first. And I can't go. I got to leave at 2 in the morning. He said I didn't figure it'd be a real good idea driving hammered.
I don't know how Kansas City State Patrol is, but I know that Missouri, they frown upon it.
Usually, yeah, they usually do. Man, I didn't even tell you, Mr. Justin Hill and Josh Ethler, we hung out a little bit at P Hill. And,
Oh, I know. They've been on my ass. They don't want to be on here.
well, I told Justin, I said, we'll just try to pick a day where nobody's got any derbies going around on a Saturday. And I said, we'll just come over and just kind of make a day of it.
Well, I told them they could be on here, but they had to quit drinking Bud Light.
They were drinking Bud Light.
Yeah, that's what they drink.
I witnessed that. Justin
They only drink a couple of them every once in a while.
Justin said, well, I've got a 38-foot camper. We can make it where you guys ain't got to leave till the next day. So I thought,
People keep extending those offers.
that's always alcohol. They think we have an issue or something, I guess.
I don't even drink.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I ain't got a big-ass head either. But welcome back. Hey, check this out. That shit was Mountain Dew hard soda.
This is not only an informational derby podcast, but
here comes
beer
that
connoisseur.
Yes, here comes that alcohol. Everybody's offering up the alcohol. What flavor you got? You got
Code red.
black cherry and
Not horrible.
let's go with watermelon. So we're going to give this a taste test too.
Oh shit, I fucks with that.
Yeah, I'll fuck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, watermelon's good.
I mean, I wouldn't want to just sit there and pound on these, but...
I did that back in the day. It's kind of like a wine drunk. You just wake
Well,
up.
hey, you know what? This will make all those little nerdy kids that want to sit in their parents' basement and play video games. This will give them that competitive trash talking edge, right?
Yes, that and about 3 Adderall, they'll be rolling.
Mom, give me another Mountain Dew. Make it hard. Playing Zelda.
Zelda, like you're in 1987.
I wasn't even born yet.
I was. But we got through P Hill last night.
Heard it was a good time.
P Hill, well, yeah, I got informed last night. Madison Derby was last night.
Sounds like you got more than you bargained for whenever you went over to the Browns' house. Looked like there might have been a couple extra bodies in the shop.
There was.
Because I was getting Snapchats and going, oh, hey, where you at? Because I was sweating my ball sack off on a trimmer out in Kansas, bumfuck Kansas.
Yeah, I did. We talked, and I said, well, we'll come back before Blizzard Bash. And so they said this will happen then.
Derek goes, yeah, we'll give you a call. And I was like, nah, don't worry about that.
I called you.
Oh, I know. I said, don't even worry about that.
I could still hear you was on the machine, so I knew that was out.
Well, I went out there under the impression that my boss was going to be out there about noon. And he showed up about 5.
Yeah, that's out.
And then he was still fresh, so we went ahead and worked till 9. And nothing like getting up at 1:30 in the morning and driving 5.5 hours to Chinook, Kansas, and then working till 9 o'clock. I was telling you I was fresh for Monday.
Fresh.
Because I went ahead and got about 3/4 drunk after I got off work Sunday night, so that made Monday real nice.
That was a shower. Yeah, that was shower beer
beers.
night.
Yeah.
But we had Madison Derby last night. A lot of you guys hear my boy, which Alan told him, make sure you weld all your shit, take all your plastic off, so they won't stop the Derby because of you. Well, he didn't. He did lose the rear bumper. They did have to.
That was the first red flag of the night.
Yeah, that was the first.
Yeah, I was
he
watching
the first
that
red
live.
flag.
Somebody's got to do it.
It's got to be somebody. But I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. you guys worked out some work trade for this van. If it wasn't for Grant Bowling and Blake Holtz, this thing wouldn't even have thought about being Derby.
I'd probably still be in that shop working on that bitch.
No, you wouldn't. I'd have walked away and have said, guess what? We're going to save this bitch till next month. The gun go rules for Madison are different to our rules and to a lot of other guys. They actually make you locate the tank.
And we've talked about this before. I've got mixed emotions on it. If they're not going to put a legit fuel cell in it with high pressure line, regulator, all that shit, why move that motherfucker?
Yeah.
Because then you've got your 16-year-old boy sitting right here. He's got a stock fuel tank in the back. One of those lines gets punctured, which I'm not saying the high pressure can't be. But with a stock big-ass tank floating around the back of that bitch, there is way more likely to have a line, or a hole poking a line, and it's spraying him. I don't know what those run, probably 60 pounds.
50 plus.
Yeah. So now you've got 50 plus pounds of fuel spraying on the driver.
Yep.
One little arc off of a dumbass 16-year-old that didn't put his battery in right. That was covered, but not, bolts come loose, whatever.
Yep.
And now you've got a fire inside the car.
Yes.
So it's hard for us to get somebody out of a car that's already burning inside.
Yes.
So if that same fire is underneath the car,
you got time to get.
You've got a little bit more time to get that person out.
Yep.
Now the fire to no fire ratio, I don't have the exact numbers on that. I can make a pie chart if that would make anybody, if that would please somebody. But I'm just saying that my thoughts on it, I'm not going to change my rules until something bad happens, which I hope never happens.
Well, Dylan Patrick went through last year at Paris.
He drug 160 foot of fire.
But guess what? It stayed on the track. It never went in. It never went in the van. It didn't get on anything else. So
he had time to smoke a cigarette, finish his drink, and get out of the vehicle.
Oh yeah.
And while our crew was getting ready to take care of the fire.
Yes.
And I promise you that bitch was warm.
And it was getting down on
fire.
it. Like there was real fire.
Yeah. It was a little bit more.
But anyway, we don't have to talk about that. We're cutting into Bub's spotlight here. He was poking and stroking.
He was.
Arguably one of the harder hits right off the bat.
Yep.
His helmet proves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wants to get in another van with a sunroof in it, because he just gouged the top of it. And
well, from my prior experience with sunroofs, if you will take a hammer and beat that lip up, kind of roll it, or even you can go as far as to put your jack on the floor with a 4x4 or something.
Just push it up.
Push it up a little bit.
I promise you.
Or just quit being so fucking tall.
Well, Big D rode with him. I got up and I actually, we went down and I talked to Cody, and Cody's like, dude, he's like, I'm just wore out. Cody Hendrick, because they ran last night, and Landon did too, and they had to do a bunch of swapping. Looks like Cody hurt a motor.
Nobody wants to ride a gut and go anyway. I don't give a shit whether they were tired or out. Nobody wants to get in that.
Big D.
Dudley did not have any.
I said, hey, bro. He's like, what's up? I was like, want to ride with him? He's like, what's he in? I said, a van. He's like, got a seat bar behind it? And I said, yeah. He said, we're good. I said, cage is okay. So he went out and he snapped me this morning and he said, how's he feel? I said, well, he just realized his neck is real sore. He said, he ain't the only one. But he did say that those things are crazy.
He said after that Derby, he would much rather ride in a mod compact than a
But, Jake just had a little bit of bad luck. We had factory tires still on it, factory aluminum wheels. It spun the tire. Pretty sure I got the left drive axle and I think the radiator. So front's still straight as a pin.
Well, that's what happens when you don't use it. He wasn't driving like me, I can tell you that.
No, I don't think he made a single hit in forward.
Could have
You
made
could
a
have.
pretty big
You and
hit.
Josh Gordon, you could have ended the winner's night One shot. I seen it.
I think I would have ended my night too.
I probably would have had to take it because you all were already squared up.
Yeah.
And he was living by that saying, you're not going to ever take a full track shot if you meet him in the middle.
Correct.
Because that's where he was at.
Yeah. But we're going to give it up to Josh. He just a lot of experience. That van's pretty damn stout. It's been around for several shows.
You say experience. That is the luckiest, dude that I know.
He is lucky.
But hey, I've told everybody I'd rather be lucky than good any day.
Promise you. You don't win the lottery because you're good. You win that shit because you're lucky. Overall, they didn't have a whole lot of cars last night.
I think we're going to watch that all summer, though.
I do.
Fuel being $5 a gallon.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying if we don't have some retarded payouts and shit like that we won't see the bigger car counts. Hopefully a little bit of reputation will preside on some of that.
Yeah.
You might want to tell everybody what the good news part of the good and bad news part was.
Oh. We got a lift.
We did. Now, some of you won't want to hear that.
There's mixed emotions about that one on this podcast.
We can go ahead and tell them it's not going to be at Salisbury.
No.
But it should be in Shelbina.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps Jerry and them guys from having to crawl around on the dirt and the ground and shit for the big cars. And I think that'll make Mr. Jerry a little happier.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I hate doing that to all of them anyway. Even Cedric. I mean, as much as I like to abuse that dude, I feel bad for him because they're up, down, all day, all day.
Yeah.
Now Reno, he's fine. He's low to the ground anyway.
Speaking of Reno, he ran last night.
Oh yeah,
yep. Him and Big D came down, and we had I think 8 compact cars, and of course those things don't really bend, but they were going way wide open. I think Don run it down to third before his transmission said, "I'm out." Big D ended up winning it. Derek Dudley. Him and Cody Bedsworth, they were down to the last two, and Cody was backing up, and D hammered him pretty good and cleared the bumper, and they got hung up. They weren't going to break them, but D did make the last hit. So I think everybody was happy, and I think that's the best run. I think Cody Bedsworth, that's a couple top threes in the last couple derbies for that dude, in the compacts. Stock class got a little wild last night. I think they had 17 cars. They ended up doing 2 heats. They did a heat of 9 and took 4. They did a heat of 8 and took 4.
As bad as I hate to say it, man, it looked like a mix of street stock and stock classes there, in my opinion. I wasn't there. I didn't get to go personally look at the cars. But I know where some of those cars have run.
Correct.
And I know where some of those cars were built for.
Yep.
Nothing against anybody that did anything. I'm just saying from the outside looking in, that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah. And to be dead honest, I didn't really get to look at anything. Them guys.
Now, if Cody hadn't changed anything, I'd seen his car.
Yeah, we saw it when we went over
the podcast. So it was legit. Landon's car, from what I've been told, was built in, 5 days?
5 days. I think he told me they pulled it in on Sunday.
Which, an 03 being in the stock class, I've got mixed emotion about that anyway.
Yeah.
I do. You know how I feel about that. Not scared of an 03, but they've got their place.
Correct. Yeah. He was wheeling that thing like it wasn't an 03, though, because usually the 03s, you want to go pretty much straight forward and back, because
right.
You don't want to lose that front steering. Landon didn't lose any steering, and he was winging that bitch.
Really?
Yeah, he was cutting it hard, and he really never lost any
But
steering.
that track looked like it was a track that you could do that on, too. It looked like there was still grass on it, man.
There was the start. They left the grass pretty quick. It was a little slime on the top, but it turned up, and it turned into pretty bitey shit.
Looked rough. Was it rough down there on that? I guess it would have been the
south
end.
No, the
or
north
end.
The north end.
End.
It had one hole right there, which is the normal hole that track has every Derby.
Well, you know what causes that, right? Whenever those tractor pulls come in, that's where the tractors stop. That's where they all spin out.
Yep.
They just keep putting dirt over top of it. It'll be a sinkhole from now on.
Yep.
We don't have to deal with that at Paris near as much because of the runoff we get down there.
Yes. It's kind of on a crown.
Yeah. So we don't deal with that. They pretty much spin on top. That we don't let our farm tractors go down there and dig down a foot and a half.
Overall, not bad. For the boys' first experience.
Well, let's hear it from him. Talk to us. Tell us about it.
What's up?
Wasn't a bad night.
Wasn't a bad night.
Did you have fun?
Oh, we definitely had fun.
So you ready to put a stock car together?
No. Yeah.
Why do you look at me before you ask that?
Eventually, yes. But I think we're going to try to get one more out of this one and then build a car for September because there's 2 derbies in September that I might
You
want
got to finish that off because I got to have something to throw some of this other junk in.
Yeah, we got.
I'll finish it off at Higby.
Well, not just the junk that come out of it. I've got a couple more.
Fill some more in it.
But, I mean, you had fun?
I had fun.
Did you learn anything?
I got
Watch out for Brett Farnan.
I ain't no shit.
You got to watch that dude.
He's a little wide open.
He's ate up. I want him and Dylan Patrick in a 2-man grudge match.
In both of the minivans.
Yes.
At Paris.
I want that to happen.
So, Brent, if you're listening, I know we can get Dylan over.
Oh, yeah. Dylan's he's already in. Like, I haven't talked to him yet, but he's in.
And watching the Facebook Live video, he wasn't just going after me. He was going after every shot.
Oh, no. He hits every car on the track. And finally, he was beating on Gordon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when it got down to right when Brent went out right before he did.
I got a Snapchat from Farnan earlier. He goes, man, I don't know why I lost power. And then I got another snap, and he was like, alternator quit. So he didn't give up.
No.
The man did.
No, it was, but I will say, Jake's, this Honda Odyssey.
Oh, she's hard.
Still straight.
Legit, dude.
Still straight.
It was as stock as you can possibly get. It still had the front reinforcement bar from the factory on it.
A little bit of concrete down there by the firewall.
We didn't have time to cheat, Steve.
The only thing that we had time to do was spray foam around the ECM and the fuse box. We didn't even relocate it up on the motor. We just kind of took it farther to the firewall, zip tied it up, spray foamed around it a little bit just to kind of help it. Blake.
Well, I did all that stuff when I was still driving it daily.
Like I said, Blake, we didn't even have, the correct battery cables to relocate the battery on the inside. That dude is slick with fuel tanks. All that EFI
We had
shit.
fuel tank out and moved within an hour.
Out, cut out, lines unhooked, relocated within an hour because of Blake. Bilake. We tried to get him to ride. Friday night, Blake's like, man, I don't know. I'm not a real good rider. I said, well, if you just want to have a few beers, I'll supply the beer for you to let you loosen up. And he came out Saturday morning again, and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to drink beer. But
we'll see you on the track again.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed.
He guaranteed it.
Guaranteed.
He stamped that bitch. Guaranteed. That is why I did talk to Big D to get him in there. Derek's experience and gut and goes, whether it's a van or a car or a mod compact or whatever. D looked at me. He said, "Man, do you want me to keep my mouth shut, or do you want me to help?" I said, "No." And Jake was saying it right there, and he's like, "No, I want you to talk. I want you to help." So
he asked me before we went on the track, "What's your game plan so I can get ready how to drive?" I was like, "Everybody's told me to wait out the 3-minute storm. Everybody I've talked to.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is there wasn't enough gut and goes there last night to wait out the 3-minute storm." And I told him that before. I was like, I don't think there's enough out here to wait out the 3-minute storm. And I thought that would have stamped how I was going to drive. And it wasn't going to be wait out the 3-minute storm. It was going to be balls to the walls the whole time. Got out of the car and he was like, that 3-minute storm went out the window when you pulled on that track, didn't it? And I was like, I told you it was balls to the walls.
Well, whenever Derek called me and he was like, hey man, they're looking like there's like 6, 7 of those here. I was like, man, sometimes that's good, sometimes that is bad.
Yep.
And we've all seen it, like, oh man, we're going to go dominate this show. And there's only going to be 7 cars there. Well, those 7 may be the hardest cars you've ever pulled on track against.
Yep. Yeah.
And there's nowhere to hide.
No.
With 7 cars.
I mean, it's a football field pretty much with nothing in the way.
Yeah. I mean, because I've been known to, look through another guy's window.
Oh yeah. Where's he at? Where's he at?
Yeah, But usually about that time they're setting my radiator and like, shit! Shit! I should have just kept going.
I shouldn't have hid. But he had a lot of fun.
That's all that matters.
That was, yeah.
I mean, a check would have been nice.
Yeah.
Well, the Filthy Promotions threw in some Mad Dog cash for it last night, and we usually do that every year somehow a little bit.
At least somewhere we try to throw a little bit of money around somewhere.
They threw, they had some money at the stock show. They had a couple of other guys throw some money into. Kind of spread that around, and then Cody Bedsworth threw some extra money into the compacts as well, and Gary Robinson threw some cash at the stock car as well. There was 3 judges for the Mad Dog for each class. Me, with the announcer, I'm always one of them, but it has to be a majority vote. The Mad Dog was pretty close. They did end up giving it to Josh Gordon.
That dude ain't never run Mad Dog in his life.
But I had to not be. I had to be part. I couldn't be biased.
He probably can't even spell Mad Dog.
MAD. But I can't just say give it to my boy, because in my opinion he just didn't last quite long enough.
He'll have that in his life several times. Not lasting. Every once in a while, you just come up short.
But they make medicine for that. They really do.
Just think about your grandma.
Oh my God. Oh.
I don't think Granny would have fixed that tire out.
Well, it looks like you've got probably a left front CV axle got to replace. I think you got to put a radiator in. I can't even see.
And you all are going to put a bumper on the front of that thing.
Yeah. We'll do that too.
I've got that little short bastard at the house. It's a little pointy. It's factory pointy, but the ends are cut off of it.
That would probably work. That really would, because he never went forward. Then the whole
you
time.
get a big old beak on that thing. You might want to though.
He probably would have took Gordon.
I was gonna say would have took Gordon out.
But overall, pretty
You
good
have to get
show.
the ass end of that van down just a little bit too.
But it started to suck in.
It
started to suck in pretty good. So.
Guaranteed, after everybody sees how y'all 9-wired that window opening, I guarantee you start seeing that more.
That was Blake.
That was Blake's idea.
That was Blake's idea, and I said,
well, I was wanting to do it all the way.
Oh, all the way to the C-pillar?
Yeah. I was wanting to do that and pull it all the way forward to the A-pillar like as hard as you could. Whenever I was talking about helping you all build that was going to be my idea, but I was wanting to cross them.
Oh, go left to right instead of front to back.
So an X in the middle.
Yeah, because it doesn't say you can't do that. It just says you can.
I mean, you could definitely tell when we were tightening the 9-wire. You could feel the doors suck in.
That's what you want.
I was like, and of course, I put the 200-mile-an-hour tape on every pillar, to try to keep those doors in there.
Now, honestly, about the best thing you can close them doors with is the seatbelt. You take a seatbelt that you cut out of them.
Yeah.
And tie them around the doors, because do you know how hard or strong those seatbelts are?
Yeah. Yeah, there's special tools to cut them bitches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that 9-wire deal, like, as soon as I seen it, I was like, well, at least somebody was thinking the same way I was.
Yeah, he looked at the rules, and you could do 5-on-5 on the driver's door, and then 3-on-3.
Well, it says you can 9-wire those doors shut. It doesn't say how you can do it.
Correct. You can log. And it said right in the rules.
They didn't.
You can
when I
weld
pulled
it or
into
chain it.
Yeah.
So So Blake's like, dude, 9 bar. And I was like, okay.
As much as I hate that shit.
Yeah.
When I pulled the tech, they had no problem, no questions with how those doors are closed.
How could they?
Yeah, I was going to say.
What'd you do wrong?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Bingo.
Concrete did this.
Concrete the doors. We didn't barely even have time to spell concrete or weld. So
Well, I think that you all had just finished up Friday evening whenever I was about 3 hours from the house.
I think we got back. He was wanting to stay up all night. He's like, let's stay up all night. And I said, son, I've done that all night shit. Here's the problem.
The
You
next
stay up
day
all
sucks.
night. You don't get as much accomplished as you think you're going to get accomplished. You feel like a bag of mashed up assholes the entire next day, knowing it's going to be almost 90 degrees. You overlook stuff. And that is one thing that we talked about, Alan, Cody, and Dalen last week, was nothing leaves the shop half-assed. If it's going to be... if you're
Maybe
gonna have
no
to,
shop.
correct. But if you're going to think you're going to have to shortcut something or it's not going to be right, it doesn't need to leave the shop.
Well, and honestly, I know it sounds crazy and everybody gives me shit for it all the time. That's why I don't take my car until I'm done with it.
Correct.
And if it takes me 6 months to finish my car, well, give me shit about it. I don't care. But at least whenever I show up, the son of a bitch will run. And it'll go out there. I've burnt transmissions up. There's nothing I can do about that.
You
I
can't do
stop
anything
that.
about part failure.
I've knocked wheels off of them. But I've never went out there and pulled on the track and been like, hope the son of a bitch will run.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know as soon as I hit the push button on it, it's going to fire up. I can back some bitch off the trailer and take it on the track. I mean, cage isn't half-ass welded in it. Doors aren't half-ass welded shut. The car is built.
Oh, yeah.
And to the best of my ability.
Correct. Within the rules.
Most of the time.
Speaking about smoking and burning transmissions, if anybody on here is listening and you're on the west side bleachers of Madison Derby, I feel extremely bad for you, and that is my fault.
That was no transmission. That
was
your
a tire.
wheels spinning inside of the tire on the chip at 6,800 RPMs. At least he did it trying to get out of a hole. He didn't do it after the shit was already broke off.
I would have thrown a beer at him.
I would have thrown something at him from my perch, and that's all the way on the opposite corner of the
Well, if I
track.
would have been there and he would have been doing it on purpose, I would have made it a point to walk all the way around there.
And smoking with a little pumpkin right in the chops.
Quit it.
Oh, that's why my neck hurts. See it, Steve Monster Pumpkin.
Me throwing beer cans in derby cars is the equivalent to rolling up a newspaper and hitting your dog on the nose with it.
Yes.
Stop it. I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
Yep, just get
Just
your
want 'em to
attention and
quit.
shut that piece of shit off. Clayton was actually, we talked to Clayton last Saturday at P Hill, and I was trying to get him to come in and ride with him.
Did you get an education while you were there?
Well, no, yeah. Clayton can't catch a beer for shit. Because some dude was throwing it from TJ Irvin's trailer all the way across the pits where they were at, and it hit Clayton in the hands twice,
and didn't catch
he dropped him both times.
Now Brady, on the other hand, can gut a beer where it sounds like he
caught his
beat
with
concrete
a gut. It
with a
sounded like
hammer.
he hit a watermelon. He went thunk. But Clayton got sick. I think he's been pretty bad off sick. I said, is it COVID? And he kind of gave me some symptoms, and I was like, that ain't COVID. That's that shit going around right now. Everybody's kind of sick. So I think your wife and kids had it earlier this week too. So
Hopefully I get it about the time I get to work, and then I get to work with that shit all week. That'd be perfect.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Hanging off machinery, just throwing your asshole
love
up. I mean, it's awesome.
But if I'm in Kansas, I ain't laying around in a hotel room. I wouldn't work.
Like I said, throwing it up on the machinery, been there, done it.
I have too, but it usually wasn't from being sick.
My last one was I was still drunk.
All right, so
stock class.
yeah,
Stock class. He had some guys coming out of retirement at Madison last night. Yeah, Chase Barnes. He came out in Austin Friels' Chrysler wagon that Austin has not had any luck in.
That wagon has been built for 3 years.
Yeah. He, I think Austin got pushed up on the concrete right
Yeah,
on the bat a couple years ago.
Higby, they run a rail on it or something, didn't they?
Yep. I'd say it's no bueno right now.
Oh yeah.
It took some shots.
anytime we've talked about it, you come out in a wagon, you have a target on you.
You are the main
What'd
target.
you say? I just want to park right now.
I do. Man, every time it's and I know it's not a good thing. But I know it's not where you want to be.
No, but it's like what?
But I want to be there.
It's kind of like going to strip club sober.
Yes.
You know you shouldn't be there, but you just want to be.
That's what I want to do. You could be my best friend. I'm like, man, I want to hit that. Hell, if I was loading up on a trailer with him, I'd be like, here we go. You better back that on the trailer.
Had some other dudes. Trent Horn, he's back in the game. He runs with Michael Huff and them guys over in that Slater Marshall area.
I heard Huff and them was bringing the heat.
Mr. Huff took a pretty nasty left rear shot.
Mr. Huff is only getting staples.
And
right
he's got
this
7 staples from the Snapchat that I got of it this morning.
Hell, you all could have done that up there. I got a gun.
Staples suck, dude. I'd rather have stitches.
He might have been drunk enough by the end of that night. He wouldn't have cared.
I think he had his kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when he come after the end of the night, and he was all pretty wrapped up. But I think Dylan Johnson ended up getting stitches in his leg in that whole ordeal, which...
Did they have a knife fight?
Well, I think it was cage fight. Ended up being. But the top 3, he ran it down to Russell Shaw in a new style. Landon Wynn and Cody Hendren. Cody in Old Iron, which we saw in the barn that day we were over there. And Landon threw together a
Look like a pretty nasty
mid-production 08, like I said, in 5 days.
Yeah, as we've talked, if you've got the money to throw at them 03 and ups, they build themselves.
Well, I think he had some help. Cody and Landon, and it looked like maybe Dylan went over and helped him this last week too, to try to knock it out. And I walked up to Landon and I said, "Hey, I thought you were pretty much taking the rest of the summer off." He said, "Don't even, bro." He's like, "Peer pressure, Cody's fault." I said, "What do you mean Cody's fault?" He's like, "Man, just build it. Let's just build it. Let's just build it. Let's just build it." And he said, "We pulled it in on Sunday, and here it is." And then, like I hit off right at the beginning, Cody had some motor issues in that stock car, so he had to take the motor, which is the exact same motor. Everything is a 100% match to it. They had pulled the motor out of his street stock car from Baymiller and put in a stock car. The only problem was the shifter is different, so the linkages were actually backwards. So he thought it was in park when they went to test drive it, and it took off. And then he realized all his linkages and shit were backwards, so he had to end up switching shifters. And
How the hell just turn the shifter around?
been there, done it. But yeah, Bubba had that look like, "What do you mean turn the shifter around?" That's where the aftermarket parts comes, into the works.
Just put a push pull on it and go on.
Dude, right now I'm legit. When you came in with your dad and your uncle and everybody running,
Oh yeah.
there was no cable shifters.
No. Badass homemade tranny mount shifter is what my uncle had on it. It come up, it was a flat piece of steel, come out and had a T-handle on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it had another piece of flat metal that bolted on the tail shaft, or
Kind of like a rectangle right there where it bolts it in the tranny. Yeah.
And it had a hinge point down there, and all the way forward, park, pull it all the way back was burst. And then, and he had a little deal that flipped over down there whenever you pulled it out of park. It was a park lockout. It was just like the MOP shifters and stuff are, like what I've got in my car, that transmount.
Yeah.
But it was all homemade, like shit they had laying around. They didn't have all the Heim joints and shit, you know. Just a piece of metal up there that bolted on the, a piece of flat metal that was twisted that bolted over where your normal linkage would have.
Yeah. Well, that exact same shifter, it's been 10, 12 years ago, little Johnny Aldridge from Clarence. I think he was up in Macon, had that same shifter, and he took a shot so hard in the left front, it broke his kneecap on that shifter. So that's not really so much of a bad idea with just the big long rod push-pull that, flop down in the seat.
Well, that's what, and I had that in the first car I ever run. I had a push-pull cable in there. It was a piece of rebar that was bent.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
No, it was a bitch finding reverse.
Did I go too far? Did I go too far? Shit.
I'm gonna start.
There were several times that night that I was going forward and went to find reverse. And you'd hear, "Come on, bitch!"
It's just a parking pin. You don't need that shit anyways.
When I get into stock cars, you're gonna see shifters on my cars like bull haulers. My hand's just gonna be up here, just sleeping.
Oh yeah, okay. So you take one good shot and your rib cage decides to wrap over the center bar
Until that wiener comes flying in his mouth.
A big, veiny, voluptuous son of a bitch.
Someone drew a dick on my car Friday night.
I know who was up front. I just didn't see who drew on it. But they were pimping him about what they were going to paint on it when he wasn't paying no attention last night. So.
I heard that you got somebody that wants to come on here and do a little talking.
Yeah, we do.
You want to get him on the phone?
Yeah, we have. He was one of the first compact guys to reach out and say, giving us shit because we didn't have any compact guys on here yet, at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So, just hang on real quick, guys. We'll be with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Mr. Do I Look Like I Give a Fuck? Right here, live. Hard Nosed Derby Podcast. What's up, Tyler?
What's up?
Oh, so you've had some good luck, some bad luck, man. What's going on? Talk to us.
Oh, just still running the same car from the Mother's Day match. We hit up there. We've also been to Huntsville. We've been to Grand Valley. We just ran. Where was that at last night?
Madison.
Man, Madison. Now,
How's that thumb doing?
she's broken for sure. I know that. But got an appointment actually on Wednesday to see a specialist. I basically ripped like the nail and all the skin around the nail, and basically all the meat from the bottom side of my thumb came out where your nail was.
Man, I love the dedication that these drivers, that you as a driver, hell, all of y'all, put into this sport, because that shit hurts. Like, you can't tell me that still doesn't hurt. Like,
oh no, every time I barely bump it or someone touches it, or like last night after we were running, everybody, you're kind of in the heat of the moment, adrenaline going. I get out after I ran and walk up to somebody and they're ready to shake my hand, and I kind of go in slow and they're just tugging away on it. And I'll pee myself a little bit every time. But
well, I didn't even tell Steven. Last night, Tyler actually had his dad, Ronnie, riding with him so he can shift, because Tyler can't shift yet because of the thumb is on the right hand. So he could wheel it and kind of put his right hand in his lap. It's no big deal. So Ronnie was actually the one in there having to.
That's scary. So you two-man extreme to regular derby.
I think that's why we broke axles, because he was ready. He was all happy after that first hit. He hadn't been in a car for a while because of his health issues, and he ran just once this year. And he jumped in there. I think he was all happy-go-lucky, ready to just get after it.
That's not a bad thing, though. I mean, it's not like you all are known for bagging anyway.
No, that's not usually the plan, but sometimes I like to get in there and drive smart.
Well, I mean, you all were running for $3,500 at Mother's Day, and you all weren't letting no grass grow into those cars.
No, that was the plan. I mean, that was my plan regardless, just because the simple fact that I had my car done probably a month before the show.
Oh, yeah, I got the snaps.
Oh, yeah. Get in there and get in the car and go to back out, and poof, there goes the motor. So I'm like, oh, no big deal. Got another motor. Put the motor, and poof, there goes the transmission. So then, change them both, go, think we're getting somewhere. 2 nights before the show, get in there. There goes the trans again. So that's the whole time I'm sitting there telling Cody and Justin, the guys I ran with, in the heat, I don't care who we pull. I'm going to shake everybody's hands after that, but the pedal's not coming off the floor just because I want this thing jumped.
And I think you did what you set out to do, for sure.
Yeah, I was telling everybody that. I mean, that night was probably one of the best times I've had in a car in probably at least 2 years.
Well, that was one of the most nervous derbies I've ever put on in my life. Just for
such a big stage, or
well,
what is it?
It was mainly because I didn't know how that was going to shake out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know how they're going to shake out, but us having to keep track of everybody's team, you know, who was left in, who was out, who was making hits, you know, how many teams we had left in so we could start counting the money shot, you know, all that stuff. And I'm just telling you that it was a nerve-wracking bitch.
Every time I talk to Danny Hobbs, I always say, yeah, Danny, he was trying to kill me. There, that last hit where he backed up and I had a pop tire on my one wheel that was actually going. So I couldn't really move, and he backed up to the wall, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, he's going to leave me alone until I time out.
Nope.
Held her to the floor, and he let me have it. That's for sure. I say, so every time I see him, I'm like, yeah, Danny, you were trying to kill me. What's up with that? He says, well, get a hold of Steven Adams. He's chopping his sticks at me. Tell him I need to hit somebody. So wait till I see Steven.
Well, a lot of these guys don't know that the first time I ever saw you guys actually come to Madison, you got the Mad Dog Award. And I had never seen anybody so wound up to get a Mad Dog trophy, but I believe that was a Zane T. Chick trophy. So it was it was no joke, and the look on you and your dad's face, you know, when you got that thing, I mean, it was just, it just seemed to me like you were on cloud nine.
Well, a lot of that also, I mean, yeah, that was nuts to me, but that's because there's a lot of people in the Derby world that don't try to get Mad Dog just because of the money and the time and everything that goes into a car. Well, that car you're talking about, we had ran forever, and we just never had good luck with it. So it was another one of those situations where the car was cobbled together like the worst thing you could possibly think of. And I told him, when I was pulling on the track, the throttle bracket broke. It was still an EFI car, so the throttle bracket, we didn't know how to do any of that stuff. And he had a little piece of wire tied on it. He could barely get a hold of it. And he's like, basically saying, you steer it, you drive it. He says, I got this little piece of wire. As he's leaned over the dash bar, he's like, I'll give it gas. I'm thinking, all right, you do that. Well, they said go. I put her in reverse, and I don't think he gave that wire that he had any slack, because the car would die. I finally get it to start back up, and next thing you know, here we are, full throttle going across the other way. Well, sorry, buddy, but you're going to get hit. I control that part.
That's some of that Brookfield shit.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just so stoked because we had derbied that same car at just, you know, the local derbies like Salisbury, Madison, Shelbina. We derbied it there several times. You know, we never had luck out of the car. We got there 1-2 hits, or there's been a couple times at Salisbury where we felt that we just absolutely sent it and we didn't end up getting it. So that's both of our first time winning anything at a derby, or, of course, getting a Mad Dog, and that's kind of what we set out to do. You know, when we started, it was more of a, hey, here's a car, go derby it, and it was okay, well, you're giving us a car that we're going to put $200 into, and we're just going to go send it.
Correct.
So we were stoked that we were more into let's just junk somebody or junk ourselves, and we'll just build it again if we have to.
I wish more people in the Derby world had your same mentality.
I'm not completely like that now, but...
No, we've noticed.
But whenever everything gets rowdy, I'm right there. I'm down for it at any time.
Oh, yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit here. Let's talk about what got you started into this. Like what was that? What lit that fire?
Well, my dad derbied probably 20 years ago, Not 20. I was probably 6 or 7 when I went to the first Derby, and he did it. He worked at a salvage yard when we lived back in Kansas City, and they gave him a car, and that's something that they did or whatever. And I went and watched, and ever since then I've always told him, I want to try it. Well, we moved to Brookfield from Kansas City, which is 2 hours. Brookfield, not many people know about it. There's only like 4,000 people that live here. He started working for a guy, and the guy kind of told him that he had a car, that we could just have it and fix it and drive it or whatever. Well, the same process of all of this, my dad met Corey Luddington, and he saw Corey was running the big cars. My dad's like, well, hey, I used to run big cars, but it's nothing like what you got here. So Corey was like, there's a Derby in Salisbury in 2 weeks. So my dad told me about it, and we got to building. And I ran that first Derby, and I made that first hit. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is probably a forever thing here.
Well, now your little brother has got hooked to it as well.
Yeah, last year he had helped me with the car, and he'd always talked about riding or whatever. Well, at Madison last year, I built a gut and go car, and he jumped in there, and it was almost the same thing. He felt the impact, and he's like, okay, I want to try it. And I don't know if you remember, but Madison, I think last year, I ended up getting a Mad Dog. I gave him the money and everything that came with it, because we went out there and we ended up battling against Brady, Smith, and Cody Bedsworth, all of them, which we're good buddies with now.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, don't think Patrick, my brother, let off the pedal a single time 30 seconds into the Derby.
Yeah, he was pissed at me because he didn't get the Mad Dog. He's like, man, what about me? I was like, dude, you would have had it if you could have lasted longer than like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
But it was full send from one end of that bitch to the other. I mean, just wide open.
Oh, yeah. And he's still like that. I've tried to kind of talk him through, like, okay, if you think if you drive with your head, make the right hits, you can still make those big hits. But you can also keep your car until you run down into the money, or, at least have more fun with it. But I think he gets so caught up in the moment, he's just ready to run and gun. He's ready to junk somebody's car.
I think he gets it pretty honest, though.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I've seen your dad the exact same way, too.
Yeah. I try and do the same thing with him. I'm like, hey, I've had some luck winning a couple of shows and getting in the money. I'm like, try to drive like I drive. Okay. We're like, nope. The green flag drops, and so does his foot.
Well, we always had that. I've always had that saying, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So, he goes out there and he might use his head until that first dude strokes him, and then it's just game on.
And that's just like last night, too. He come up to me and he's like, oh, well, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, well, of course, you're in a minivan. Use the back of it. I was like, just don't put yourself in a situation you can't get out of, or make the right hits. And he did a damn good job for a long time. And then, old boy was in that older van, and he just let him have it. And then there went your boy. I'm like, oh, not good. Now Derek's going to be in the shop a lot longer, building a lot more cars.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier. That thing, I think we're going to get one more run out of it. I think it left CV axles out. I think transmission is fine. I think I'm going to have to put just a little bit of money into it, and then I think he's going to send her again, maybe at Higbee or something, because he, I've talked to you about it. He can't run any of our stuff. So,
yeah.
So that's why we've got to go to them other spots. But we've got a couple more vans up on deck, and I'm thinking I'm just going to bring one to your shop and let you.
I need to get in one of those vans for Higbee, because after this Salisbury show, if I can get these cars done, will probably be my last mod compact one for the year. I got to get my Blizzard Bash car going. So.
Oh, you got in the Blizzard Bash, huh?
Well, I didn't get the spot. A buddy of mine from Kentucky actually got a spot, and then he was looking for a team. And I'm buddies with everybody in the Derby world. Well, Tyler Burton's cousin Aaron Hall got on the team, and they were looking for a couple other guys, so they Tyler Bird mentioned me and Cody both got a spot on the same team, the Blizzard Bash this year. So we're gonna put the cars we have up after this one if they're not junk, and we're gonna start that. But I still plan on running some gut and goes or whatever if I can here and there.
Just give you that feed, for the summer while you're in the building mode.
Deep time for Blizzard because this is my first time, and it's obviously the biggest show you can run. So the
for now.
You did hear him say for now, right?
Yeah.
But man,
hey, I'll tell you, Steven, he puts together a hell of a show. I mean, I love going to them. Like Paris last year, the Halloween Havoc one, I only took a car because I'm thinking, there's 10 cars maybe is going to show up compact-wise. Surely I can go there and drive smart and take home some money. And I show up, and there's already about 40. I'm like,
I was going to say there was damn near 40 of them.
Yeah.
And on that same token, we didn't think it was going to be that either. We truthfully, legitly figured 100 to 120 cars, and then 170 rolled in, and we're just like, oh, shit.
And I'm just standing there with I was like, oh, no.
Well, it started a little bit earlier too, right? The Derby was supposed to start at like 4, I think.
Yeah, at 5:30 we started pulling cars on the track.
Yeah, and then you guys are driving through there on the golf cart. Hey, you got time? We're not gonna start until about 6:37 now. Like, yeah, there was probably cars being teched pretty close to that time. Right?
8 o'clock, we were still teching cars.
We were running the gut and go heats.
We were running gut and go heats while they were still teching cars.
Yeah,
I actually pulled Greg Neal
that was the
and
$5,000 to win gut to go, right?
Yeah, that was the $3,000 to win. But I actually pulled Greg Neal,
out of the stands,
Don Reno, and Derek Dudley, and took them to the dirt with me because I didn't have enough people to tech and official at the same time.
That was a good time, though. I had
You say what you want. Whenever 4 o'clock in the morning rolled around and my ass was still sitting there, I was over it.
Yeah, I would have gave up. I say that about everybody. I mean, really, everybody that I go different promoters, I run their shows, and I'm just sitting there thinking, there's no way in hell I could promote a Derby because, one, you deal with people very well. I mean, you do, but you got people that are always, crying about everything. You got scenarios that happen, like if a car, people come down to 1 and 2, then you got people mad because one person thinks they should have won, whatnot.
And I've told everybody I'm human. I make mistakes. I do. It happens.
Oh yeah. But it's not for me. I will stick to running them. I will go to them. You will not catch me promoting one because I cannot deal with it. So
I keep saying the same thing.
Well, dude, you got your first win of the year at Huntsville, I believe, this year, just a few weeks ago, didn't you?
Yep. The first that was the first fair show we went to. Cody Bedsworth, he's kind of my guy. We ran this team show together, which we're good buddies outside of Derby also. But if my dad and my brother don't go, Cody, he's my guy that we do everything. So we had the car still, and we're like, yeah, let's load them up and go run. Sadly, it was just us buddies there, but yep, pulled off a win and a Mad Dog there. And then the following weekend went to Green Valley, and that's when the thumb incident happened. So that wasn't a very good run for me, but
I would have shit my pants if I would have done that to my thumb.
Well, see, when it happened, it was like fairly early in the Derby, and I honestly, it felt like a pretty good pinch, which I know I smashed it, but I thought it was just a fingernail, like, you hit your hand with a hammer or something and your fingernail turns black. So I thought that's what it was, so I kept derbying, made several more shots, and then I noticed there was blood all over my shifter, all over my switch box, as I'm using the same thumb to start my car when it dies in the Derby. and my buddy Brandon was riding with me, and I look over, and from right below his ear to his shoulder he was wearing a cutoff, was completely covered in blood because my finger was just spraying blood everywhere. And that's whenever the pain started kicking in because the adrenaline was wearing off, and then I got pushed up on the dirt, and then went to put the car in reverse, saw my finger, how bad it was, and I just got out. I was like, I'm done.
Yep. Man, we actually talked to Cody earlier, or I talked about Cody earlier. He has really stepped his game up, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe some of you aren't rubbing off on him a little bit, because usually, you know, Cody'd be lucky to get in the top 5, and hell, I think he's got in the top 3 the last 2 derbies, hasn't he?
And he had. I was the last one on our team at the team show, but he was down there with us too. So I tell him that every time we run. I tell him, I'm proud of you, man. Well, thank you, but why? Same thing you just said. Before, he would go to a derby and he wouldn't. You'd see him and be like, oh, he's going to go out. Here recently, he's been putting it to him too, and not only has he been driving damn good, he's been laying down some monster hits.
Yep.
And I mean, he's taking Mad Dog home too, but yeah, he's definitely wheeling it really good recently, and I think he's just going to keep getting better and keep getting better because he's starting to realize, you know, if you pick your shots, not only that, he spends the money on the right parts, and I mean, he's definitely dedicated himself to Derby, and I think that's why me and him get along so well, because that's kind of how I was. People would look at my cars when I show up, oh, that's junk.
So since you all are starting to get some success in the compacts, are you all about ready to step up to big cars yet?
I've actually been putting a lot of thought into big cars just because I ran a gut and go. I ran a compact. A lot of people don't know this, but me and my dad actually did the 2-man extreme compact one time at a fair show just to see if we could do it. So that's one thing that I have not done is run a big car. So that's where I talk to Corey Ludington. I talk to him all the time. Tell him to let me rent one of his cars, and he just says, no, because I know if I rent one, you're just going to be an ape to go tear something up. You're probably right. But
like all of us sitting here haven't seen Corey do something stupid and tear up a bunch of shit too.
Yeah, but I put a lot of thought into it. My thing is I just can't get myself to sell all the compact stuff and buy big car stuff, or just bite the bullet and buy all the big car stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't know. I guess I don't really know too many big car drivers, but.
Well, now, you know, you've been in this enough, you know what to do to those little bitty bastards.
Yeah.
And the big cars, you know, they're a different breed. You know, what you can and can't do. Because we've said this many a times, and which Alan Brown said it last week. He's like, those things are the hardest cars I've ever seen run, because they're so big of a package in such a tight confinement. You know, the rails aren't very long. The engine cross member isn't very big. You know, everything's all compacted, just like a little stick of dynamite.
Yeah, sometimes I like to sit back and think that I got them figured out, and then I'll hit somebody else or hit somebody that I don't know, and then I look at my car and I'm like, well, they definitely do have it figured out. I got a lot to.
It happens. But that's the experience part, though.
But honestly, like, if we didn't have the compact cars, like, when would our fans have time to get up and get something to drink and eat?
Hey.
Don't take that shit. Kick him in the nuts the next time you see him.
I already owe him one because Danny made him. Did you see what Danny did to my bumper?
I did see that.
He broke the ear completely off of it.
No, I missed that. I was grabbing something to drink.
Is that when you slipped the piss out of your arm?
Yeah, well, it was right in the palm of my hand. Yeah, I was already going to break off because I knew it wasn't going anywhere, and I was honestly just roasting a tire, and my time was probably already running out. But he bumped me. Oh, he's a good distance away. He hit me pretty good, and I saw him back up to the wall, and I'm thinking, me and Danny are buddies. There's no way he's going to do that. And then I just heard it hit the floor, so I was going to break the stick and look over, and he was just too close, and I guess I had just grabbed the door pillar right there, and the hit sliced me from probably close to my wrist, almost to the middle of my palm.
I was going to say you had your arm held out the window towards the dirt, and I could see the blood from where my booth was, and I was like, that looks like that could be bad.
Yeah. Luckily, it wasn't as bad. It definitely hurt.
Well, I was looking at him in the car, and I was like, "Are you good?" And he's like, he gave me a thumbs up as blood was running down his arm. I was like, "I don't think you're as good as you think you are."
Hey, you know they always say if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough.
Because I kept looking at him, and I was like, "Do you want out of that car?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "You should probably get out of that car."
Yeah. Once I saw a pretty good puddle of blood on my lap, I got out, and I think I actually walked across someone's car. I was just walking right across the hood of it, and I looked back, and I'm like, damn, like, I guess I kind of blacked out a little bit from whatever, but I definitely just walked across old boy's car while he's still sitting in it, didn't even know.
Probably from the loss of that much amount of blood.
Yeah.
Well, brother, I know we've been trying to get you on here for quite a while. We're going to let you get to it. We know you got a lot of work left in the shop.
Oh, yeah.
Just hopefully we'll see you next weekend, just as long as you don't decide to go to Centralia.
No. Salisbury is 20 minutes from my house, and all I got to do is throw 2 new axles in my car. I know my car and my dad's car will for sure be there. I'm not sure about my brother's car. It needs a lot of work, but I guess if I call a couple of buddies, we could probably get it done.
Good deal.
Well, man, we appreciate you. We really do.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've been waiting. I think I've texted Derek 10 times. I've watched the first 5 episodes of it. I'm like, dude, they have talked nothing about big cars, and I'm getting tired of it.
Well, we got you on, and we'll definitely get you on again.
Well, yeah, we'll probably revisit because I want to. Even good luck, bad luck, whatever, man. We'll pull you back in and we'll talk about it. And if you had bad luck, we'll make fun of you. If you had good luck, we'll talk about that too.
Yeah, we'll praise you a little bit.
For sure.
All right, brother. We'll see you next Saturday.
Yep. See ya.
All right, man. Well, that was him.
Like I said, he's pimped me. He's pimped me. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
Which, I mean, hell, that was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Tyler. He is. He's
real.
He's legit real. Yes.
I mean, like everything he was just talking about. Like you didn't hear him say a bad word.
Oh no.
About another driver or promoter.
Nope. He is so respectful.
Yep.
No matter what happens.
And me and him have even got a little sideways before.
Oh yeah.
And it always, both of us afterwards, like, hey, you're right,
Yeah.
That was all stupid, whatever.
Yeah. That's one of them we've talked heat of the moment type of deals.
Oh yeah, and it happens. And dude, I'll lose my shit every once in a while. People know that.
Correct. And when we've been there for 14 hours, running on little to no sleep. We've all admitted we're assholes.
It's not these people's fault.
No, it's not.
And usually they catch the brunt of it, especially if somebody comes at me some kind of way. I'll get a little sideways, especially if somebody comes at me with something stupid.
Which we get.
Oh, yeah.
We do get the stupid
phone calls. Hey, can I cut my kid's trampoline up, use it as a cage?
Hey, I'm going to tear my deck down. I'm going to put it in for a dash bar.
Yeah, no, you're not. Don't bring that bullshit around here. You might get away with that shit across the river, but don't bring it over here.
That's right. But, man, we've got Salisbury. This thing is going to air on Thursday, and we will be there on Saturday.
I had to take a day off work for that.
You did. I didn't have to. Thank God I don't have to work weekends because my boss is cool and yours isn't.
Dallas Rowan is a badass.
Dallas is pretty. He's pretty pimp. I'm not gonna lie.
The dude gave me the time at home today. I'll give him that. Like, I don't have to be there till 10 o'clock tomorrow. So.
Well, it really still sucks when you still got a 5-hour plus drive.
Right, but I don't have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Normal white people hours. For that extent, but Salisbury Lions Club. It's at their park.
Yeah, Potts Park.
This isn't ours. This isn't a filthy promotion. Derby. We're not promoting it, but we are teching it.
Officially.
Officialing it and announcing it. they just kind of bought our services. We're kind of like Derby hoes.
Yeah, Derby horse for sure.
Yeah.
We gave them a rate. And, evidently it was a rate they couldn't refuse.
Well, and sometimes that rate is less bullshit that they have to do.
If you want to know the honest to God truth, Josh Gordon suckered me into this shit.
Because you came over and he's like, what are you doing June 25th? I was like, am I at a Derby? Yep. Where? Salisbury? Damn. But, I mean, that's the thing. If we weren't doing it, we were probably going to be there anyways, because that is your birthday weekend.
Right.
Like
I wanted to run my car there, but I screwed that up.
You don't get to do that. But we go from Salisbury.
I've talked to you about this before. Salisbury is honestly one of my favorite tracks.
Yes.
I hate the pit situation, but love the track.
Pits are way out.
It is what it is. It's supposed to be dry as shit, though, so the pits will be awesome.
Yeah, and like 100 degrees or something.
Yeah.
It's always hotter than balls.
Gordon is supposed to be getting a bunch of extra lighting, too.
Lighting for the pits, I hope? Okay.
Yeah, I heard something like 3 extra light lamps, so.
Which, he tried to violate my son last night, so.
I can see that.
That's Josh. But that's Josh in a car, a car, van,
Me and
whatever.
Josh really didn't hit much with each other.
You need to go back and watch that video.
He stroked me one time.
Yeah. I still wish you would have seen what that van would have done, hit him head on from one end to the other.
Honestly, junk it, whatever. I would have loved to have seen that. But who doesn't love a good nose-to-nose shot?
Yes.
Hell, I look for them.
We go.
I've lost my ass with that move before.
Oh, yeah. We go from Salisbury, and I think we get a weekend off, and then we go to Shell Buying a Baby.
Yep. Where the beer is plentiful, the music is good, and the track is big. Big.
We're talking football field plus type shit, so if you plan on running it, get to building, guys.
And then after that, look out, Boone County. Here we go.
Boone County beatdown, yes, sir.
Registration's open.
Yes, it opened Friday at 8 a.m.
It's moving a little slower than I'd like it to.
We're not to the butthole puckering stage quite yet.
Right.
But we're not real far off of it.
If it don't happen, we're going to do something else.
Correct. Yeah.
Whether it be split the big money up between the classes and go regular style or, whatever we got to do. But we're going to make it work.
Oh, yeah. We're still going to have a show. We're going to have a show at Boone County for the first time since 2015. So.
And if we've got to adjust the times around on the Rumble, we will. Whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
Accommodation is what we're good at.
Sometimes we got to fly by the seat of the crotch.
And we do that a lot.
Which we do. We do that stuff. But, man.
That's mostly my life. That ain't going to work. I'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We've got some good stuff coming up this summer. We've got some good guests. We're going to go back east of the river. We talked earlier. We're going to get it lined out. We're going to go hang out with Justin Hill.
Oh, yeah.
And Josh Sethler.
We got to make sure that Mike Sethler is there.
Okay. Because, me and Josh were talking, or me and Justin were talking at P Hill, and, he was like, yeah, come on over, guys. We'll put you up. So we're going to take one, and there's all these other guys that we still have to hit. With me. And just drop it off with that blank check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's a new style for you.
Make it wicked, please. But we've got some good guests coming up. We've got some good shows coming up. We've got a long summer.
This year we get to see Derek on a mod lawnmower.
Out.
Alan Brown's building it.
And it's taking it to Dylan Simonton's ranch?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm out. I'll let Alan run that. He's been in a compact before. He can run a mower. So,
first ever zero turn on the track.
I got the front belly grasshopper. I can tear some shit up. But if
Going to do a little experiment with boat derbies this year. You see that?
No, I think I'm going to pass on that one
bunch
too.
of boats for sure.
Make that the one where I'm on vacation, please. But guys, we're going to try to get as many of you guys on as possible. We kind of get Snapchats, text messages, and whatnot.
Cody Meyer,
we've got to get him
busy
back
now
on there because Cody's interview that we did,
we lost it.
We completely lost it. It did not come through for some reason, but guess what? So we're just going to catch up.
We got to get him back on here and making fun of Clayton.
Yes, because that was awesome.
Yeah.
That really was.
Yeah.
So
I want to try to do a dual interview there.
Get them both there at the same time.
Yeah.
I bet you if we can meet at like Clayton's shop, we can just get Cody to
I'm
come
not going
by.
to end up drunk.
Well, we have a DD, so he can probably drive us. That's all highway miles there. That's no back roads or nothing like that. So
we've got some big car guys been wanting to come here and talk to us a little bit.
We still haven't talked to Bear Cub yet.
Right.
You know,
right. He's a hard one to get.
Well, you never know where he's going to be or when he's going to be, or is he going to South Dakota for a derby? Is he going to Wisconsin for a derby or Ohio for a derby?
Talk to us and all, you know.
So
stand around playing with his hair.
Such luscious locks.
Bieber fever right there.
So, guys,
I want to get Kelly on here. That's what I want.
Well,
Kelly
so we just need to get to the shop, put the dog in the pen because I don't feel like getting my ass bit.
I am not. I look like Friday in that bitch.
Bye, Felicia. So, guys, hang with us. We'll see you next week.
Make junk, boys.
Later.